Okay, I'm here with Brian Finch at the. Where are we, Brian? We're at the
Rainbow.
the Rainbow something
No,
on
Rainbow
Church
Village.
Street. Rainbow Village, Church Street. And Brian, of course, is the founder of Positive Light, and I'm here to ask him a few questions. Brian, first of all, I want to ask you about your vision of what you were thinking about with Positive Light. Now, there are many positive sites out there. What makes Positive Light different? What was your vision, and what were you aiming for when you founded this thing?
My vision for Positive Light was that when I looked at other websites, I thought that they were too heavy and serious and talked about treatment and all this really heavy downer stuff. And there was nothing that reminded me of the old days when there was a site or a webzine called Disease Pariah News with a bunch of guys with AIDS that had a most dark, irreverent sense of humor. And that was back in the 80s. So they're my inspiration to create something that's kind of offbeat and irreverent, that doesn't exist out there, where we can be creative and express ourselves in ways that people aren't used to seeing us, and also where HIV is not the main thing. It's the background in our lives. We're bigger people than that, and we have fun, and we have sex, and we do all sorts of sometimes interesting things.
And Positive Light is all about those things.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you see? Do you think you're making a political statement in any way by putting out a site like this? Is this a sort of a political thing? Does it reflect your activism approach, or is it something you're doing really for fun? How does it reflect HIV in 2010?
I think it's an extension of the activist work I used to do, just being public, I think. But it's about having fun. But I think you can do both things at the same time. I think we've come to a place now where there's so many people living with HIV in the community that we need to move beyond the crisis mode. We want to be whole people. We want to present ourselves in ways that our ordinary lives are, and our sense of humor. We have a great sense of humor. We have, well, not everyone, but some.
You do.
I think there's a lot of people with a great sense of humor and a great outlook and full lives, and we don't get to see that. And this is a way of showing that. So in the act of doing that is kind of a bit of advocacy, kind of activist work.
Good. And how much do you think? The site reflects Brian Finch, the man? I think most people know, in Canada at least, that Positive Light is something like Brian Finch's baby. We know that he started it, and it reflects his vision. How much does it reflect your life experience? How much does it reflect your sense of humor, your personality, do you think? And is that a good thing?
I know that can be a dangerous thing. Well, I think the site reflects my personality. It was me who came up with the Positive Light, same flavor, less calories, and maybe poor taste. But it was me who came up with that sort of vision, and I think it reflects that. It's going to get redone, so visually it's going to look a bit different, but it's always going to have that kind of whimsical, light kind of feeling, and that it kind of reflects a part of me. There's a serious side to me, and I have different venues for that, but I don't want to get really heavy there. So yeah, it's meant to be fun and irreverent.
And you have a new slogan too, don't you?
Oh, I have a few. I have edit moment. You don't have to be paused, but it helps. And what was the other one? Oh, tired of pause websites taking themselves too seriously. And there's several answers. Take the best medicine, get the best medicine. A spoonful of this sugar will help make the medicine go down.
Yeah. I want to ask you just a couple of questions about Brian Finch, the person, because I think many people who've either read your journal or met you in person think this is you've had an interesting background, I think, and you're quite open about some of the things you've done in your past life. You've been in porn, you've been an escort, you've been in recovery, all those things.
Glamour.
You've led an interesting life that most of us can only dream about. Do you ever want to be a more private person, or how do you feel about being so out there in almost every aspect of your life?
That's a good question. Actually, I have to learn to open up with the real private things with people, because there's a certain amount that I don't share, believe it or not. There is a modicum of stuff I don't share, and that dates back from the 80s when I used to do a lot of public speaking, and that's sort of been the recovery process, is being able to tap into that and share that, and so that's good. And I don't share everything, but I like to throw out the salacious stuff. It keeps people coming back.
So when are we going to hear Brian Finch's sex tips that everybody is waiting for?
Well, I'm waiting for the right episode of No You Can't Stay for Coffee to
You're waiting to have sex too.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
One of these days you'll have it, so you'll know what
Actually,
it's
it happened last week.
It did. Was that your
yeah.
first time?
In a couple of weeks.
This is good.
Same person.
Yes. It sounds like you're having fun with this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I was actually feeling kind of depressed, and I needed my own project to work on, and this is how this sort of came to be. And I think we need to I need to tap into my creative side. As crazy it is, I kind of have to embrace my inner freak and love it, and just let it out, and people can like it or not, but I have fun doing it, so that's it.
Okay, one final question. Where do you see the site going? Where would you like to see it go? We've been going for 3 months now, and you've got a good readership, and you've got a lot of bloggers putting some interesting stuff. How would you like to see the site develop over the coming months?
Well, I kind of look at the first 3 months as sort of what I'm calling the pilot phase, which has been really good to start to get word out, learn about the website, what works, what doesn't work, in order to get it redone and have it in a way that I really like. In terms of the future, I want to see more people writing. I want to see a lot more video. I would really love people to almost become kind of a creative collective in terms of expressing ourselves in whichever way we want to, as long as it's not heavy and suicidal. But that's kind of how I see it. I'd like to see a diverse group of people taking on different mediums and talking about whatever interests them. It could be art, it could be video gaming, it could be movies, their favorite shoes, I don't know, whatever we like. And for me, I get it up for humor, so that's my thing. So that's kind of how I see it going.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Here, we're done.